Greetings, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I am Dr. Huntley. I'm the host of the Public Health Epidemiology Conversations podcast. As entrepreneurs, business owners, consultants, freelancers, when you are operating, leading the team, running your business, how do you plan your vacation? How do you break away from the business? This is a hot topic often among community of entrepreneurs and business owners. How do we do this? I see posts often. I've talked to friends. I often take breaks. I'll take long weekends. My husband and I will take a week at a time, but this was the first time that we had taken 2 full weeks off together. And our kids are all adults, so we didn't have to wrangle up kids or deal with that. It was just the two of us to unplug and detach. And we went, I believe we calculated 5,000 miles away from home. We went to Hawaii. This is a vacation in the making. I've been wanting to go my whole life, really. I really wanted a good 10 days to 2 weeks to be there and to enjoy exploring the island and just to really just to be very present there, not have to rush there and rush back. And it was a lot of fun, but there's a lot going through my mind and trying to get there, which is what I want to talk about today. I want to share with you 10 strategies that I used to help me plan and implement 2 weeks of vacation, or holiday if you refer to it as holiday, depending on where you are in the world. Forget the massive to-do list. I bring this on myself. I do it often. It just didn't stand out as much in the past. When I'm getting ready to take a long pause, I'll have all of these things I have to do before I leave. All these things need to be taken care of before I go. Or this needs to be handled while I'm away. And as I try to prepare for such a long pause and to be so far away, another thing, not I can't get back to anything really quickly. I really had to think about what I'm putting on the list. I actually caught myself. There were things I was putting on the list that needed to be done before I left that were just wishes or wanting to get done. These things hadn't been done in a long time. So all of a sudden, because I'm going out of town, I convinced myself that they needed to be completed before I left town, which is ridiculous. So don't do that to yourself. I say my biggest thing was letting go of this massive, overwhelming to-do list that I generated for myself, thinking that I needed to do all of these things before I left town. And really the way I started to break it down was, how long has it been since I've done that thing? How long has it been left undone? And maybe it can wait a couple more weeks until I get back. And it helped me to kind of really sort through what truly needed to be done. So let go, forget about that massive to-do list that you're creating for yourself before, all the things that have to happen or you need to complete before you go on vacation or holiday. Just let go of that one. All right, number 2, prioritize what has to happen or needs to happen versus what you'd like to happen. What really and truly needs to happen? For me, the podcast episodes needed to be all sent and back from the editor before I could leave. I need to get them back from the editor so that we could schedule those out so the podcast show is not interrupted while I'm on vacation, as opposed to, I don't know, some documents that I need to outline and prepare that aren't even due or need to be complete until next month. I don't need to really work on that or push for any of that before vacation. I think what was happening is I was thinking about all the things that are undone, and I suddenly felt this overwhelming need to, like, this has to happen. And it really doesn't. It's just a trick. All right. So number 3, automate whenever possible. Can't automate absolutely everything, but going back to what actually has to happen, what can you automate? For me and the podcast, we automate the release of the episodes. So when I interview my guests, and we're typically ahead of the game when we interview someone, at the time we interview them, their episode may come out within a few weeks or it may be a couple of months. But when we send things off to our editing team and they do what they need to do and make the episodes all great and send that back to us, we can schedule the release of that episode on the date that it needs to go out. So that's using automation. I can automate also the update email that goes out when a new episode is released. I can schedule that for the day that episode releases. Use automation as much as possible, whenever possible. Again, don't go chasing after something that is not of high priority, but automate those tasks that help you to accomplish the things that actually need to be accomplished while you're away. So automation was certainly a friend of mine. Number 4, I'd like for you to really clarify what an emergency actually means in your business. Many of us, most of us, don't have businesses that have a true emergency, like life or death situation, or where someone actually needs your assistance, after hours or while you're away. Most of what we call an emergency or just urgency is one thing. Someone really needing to talk to you, really wanting to meet with you is not the same as an actual emergency. So clarify what that really means to you in your business, and decide what things, can truly wait until you get back. So think about that. Clarify what is really an emergency in your business. Number 5, schedule clients for later. So I didn't make a big, massive announcement that I'm going on vacation. Now, if you met with me in a meeting within the 2 weeks leading up to that, I was on vacation. I was telling everybody I met with, whether they asked or not. I was so excited to leave, but I didn't make a big announcement that I'm going to be on vacation. I didn't think it was necessary. But there were certain clients that I was working with at the time or that were wanting to work with me. I just simply scheduled them out 2 weeks. So that made it really simple. They had some things they could work on and get ready for, but that was already on the calendar. So it was nice for them to know, I've got my date, I've got my time, I'm going to get ready. In 2 weeks, I'm going to sit down with her. So they began to work on things, getting ready for that meeting. For me, I knew what I had on my calendar coming back, on my return back. So schedule your clients for the time that you return after your vacation. So number 6 is allow time to transition back. I chuckle because I think about this. Another reason why I wasn't live last week, and I thought I would be after being away 2 weeks. I thought I'll come back in a few days later. I'll be ready to join my LinkedIn Live. That was not the case. So allow time to transition back. For me, that means scheduling time. I didn't we returned back home late on a Saturday night. So I didn't have clients scheduled to meet on Monday morning. That would have been a disaster. I didn't meet clients until I think it was Wednesday before I had any face-to-face client meetings. You need time to allow yourself to transition back into your routine, time to catch up on what's been happening in your office while you were away, emails or whatever that looks like, getting back into your pattern and your routine and preparing for those meetings that you scheduled before you left. That was an important one for me. So number 6 is allow time to transition back. All right. So number 7, avoid the hamster wheel. Oh my goodness. We went to Hawaii. It was so nice and so wonderful. We had a phenomenal time. Just so you know, we spent all of our time on the Big Island, and we're very outdoorsy type of people. So exploring and spending time all around the Big Island was wonderful for us. So we're in this, bliss, euphoric type of state coming back, and we're just thinking all things, waves of the ocean and amazing food and just all the sights. We're just so in that space. And then coming back and transitioning into work and everything at home and picking those things back up, I found myself this tendency to kind of get back on that hamster wheel, that cycle of just doing all the things because we need to do them and it has to be done and not thinking about it and just getting all wound up. Try your best to avoid that hamster wheel. That's a great time when you transition back into work to question some of the things that you find yourself gravitating back into. And what I realized for myself is there was a lot more that I was doing that I really should have been delegating off to my team. And as I began to try to pick those things back up, I caught myself. I was like, I shouldn't be doing this. So-and-so can do this whole much better. I've got a couple of team members. So we've been doing a lot of shifting as a result of that so that I could avoid getting back on the hamster wheel. So it's a real good time to catch yourself, kind of picking up things that they really could be important tasks. I'm not saying you're wasting your time, but there are things that you could delegate to another team member so that you can stay in your lane with things that you should be doing as running the CEO of your business. Number 8, decide that it's really that you're okay with undone. And what I mean by that is some things are going to just need to go undone for a couple of weeks, and it's not going to be the end of the world. My LinkedIn Live newsletter, I love consistency. I preach consistency. This podcast is an example. This has to happen. But of all the things that I do, some things are just going to have to be, I have to be able to be okay with pausing. I'm not okay with pausing the podcast. I'm okay with pausing a few of the other things if I need to. And so my LinkedIn newsletter, which I try to get out every Thursday, did not go out during the time I was away, but we did get one. It was just 2 weeks delay, not the full 3 weeks. But that's an important, very important. It's not like I'm saying these things are not important. They're very important. But in order to take a break and take a pause, I really had to decide there's some things I'm just going to have to be okay with them going undone for a couple of weeks or a short period of time. And everything can't be all, on the highest level for you. You have to it's back to the prioritizing. They're all important, but you have to decide what, is a must have and what can you be okay with it going undone. Number 9, decide to relax and let go. So I'm using intentional words here and decide. It's a decision. You can stay stressed out about it. You're just going to waste your, really good time and energy if you just stay uptight and frustrated. You can decide to relax and let go. Allow your team, if you have a team, any support team, allow them to handle things. You'll be surprised at how well they do, and they'll show you their true colors. You'll be surprised to see sometimes they'll do things way better than you expected. That opportunity to just let them do it is wonderful. And I do have a great team, and it was great to just know that they would handle things. They're very capable, and I've, entrusted them with things before. It's not like it's new, but it's a reminder, decide to relax and let go. It really is okay. And sometimes it's better. You'll be surprised, like I said, and how they show up. Let them show up for you. Number 10, allow yourself to be flexible. Key phrase in here is allowing, because you really have to. It's a part of letting go, relaxing, being okay with it, kind of surrendering to it. It is absolutely wonderful to completely unplug when you're on holiday or on vacation. It really is. And that should always be the goal, right? But I made a decision to continue to support 2 of my clients while I was away. And I struggled with this a little bit. I really did, because I felt like I was cheating myself because I'm supposed to be on vacation. I need to have a hard pause and, unplug everything. I was doing it wrong. All this is internal conversation with myself. And I decided that, I was feeling bad about that for no reason. And I'm not trying to facilitate, foster this whole workaholic mentality. That is not the case. I made a decision to continue to support 2 of my clients during the time that I was away. One of the clients is a very long-term client, and she was at a vital place in her business where they were making some really significant shifts and decisions, and she really needed my continued support. Taking that long pause would have caused her more anxiety and a little bit more stress during that time. But the other client was a relatively new client. It's an organization that I support. And there's multiple people involved in my pause with this organization, this relatively new, I say new client. I've been working with them less than 6 months, or about 6 months. It would have been more of an interruption because we had just got a good workflow established. And it would have been more of an interruption for them and myself for sure, to have a long pause and then come back and play catch up. A few things I factored in. The fact that I'm on the East Coast in the US. So when we were on the Big Island in Hawaii, that was 6 hours. Their time is 6 hours behind me. Both of these clients I'm referring to are on the West Coast. So they're 3 hours behind me. So in all aspects, there's only a 3-hour difference between where they were and where I was. It worked out really nicely. I had a routine when I was in Hawaii. I love the sunrise. So I would get up every morning and watch sunrise. I'd have my tea, sit and watch the water, take 1,000,001 pictures and videos. And then I would go set up my Hawaiian office. So I had a really nice place to open my laptop. I arranged for a small window of time that happened right after my sunrise kind of get to watch the sunrise and do my journaling, drink my tea. And then I'd meet with my clients for a few hours in a block that I had set aside. And then once I was done, my husband and I had the rest of the day to go off and do what we wanted to do. Now, this was not every day. This was only a few days of the week while we were on vacation. But that little compromise, it actually worked really well because my husband found himself doing like things that he wanted to do during that time that I chose to work. And then we had, like I said, the rest of our day to do all the things that we wanted to do. But that compromise there worked out so well because it was a win all the way around. It was actually super great, better than I expected because it helped with the transition as well. And I found that I do pretty well when with established boundaries. And it just provided a lot of structure for me and for the clients. And I still absolutely, I mean, I was on vacation. There's no doubt about it. So those are my 10 strategies that I use to help me in taking vacation for the last 2 weeks. And I hope that in some way this has helped you as you plan your vacation or your holiday, whether absolutely as an entrepreneur, consultant, but maybe even as the leader in your organization if you're an employee somewhere. So message me if you have any questions, feedback, comments. I'd love to hear from you. And I'll see you again next week.